Connections, bro. That's all it is. It's all connections.
Yeah. It's true.
Not in a bad way. Like, I got my job through connections.
But they have like
you got your job through connections too. If you think about it.
And rejected from my job because of connections.
Yeah. So
I got fucked by connections, but the connections are
sometimes,
good.
sometimes you win.
People
sometimes you lose.
think, oh, it's like your own merit. You can stand on that. You know, they'll see that you're an A+ superstar and they'll give you a job. And it's like, maybe you are an A+ superstar or whatever the fuck. But it's like, how did they really even know? Through the interview process? Is that going to really like shine through? Or is like somebody who you've known for 20 years is like, hey, he's a good guy, you should hire him.
Yeah, there's that
like,
factor
okay. It's like if you came up to me and it's like, hey man, like, do this, and I'm just like, okay, like that. I won't even like question it. I'm like, he knows what's going on. Like, I don't even have to like, double think it. So it's like people get really mad at like connections, but it's like that's what everyone does. You're just mad you weren't connected. You know, it's like you only don't want the world to be run by connections because you don't have any connections.
Yeah,
and I get that, but it's. Just get connected. I don't know what to do. Like, that's like the answer to that problem. Yeah. It's like you can complain about it.
Yeah.
And then it's like now you don't have connections and you're complaining about it. It's like you have these two things.
Yeah, I mean there's like a lot of horrors associated with like accepting that, you know? Mm-hmm. But I feel like there is no other way to progress in the world.
I think you can progress without connections. But I think this is more the truth.
You can, but it's like
wait, no, yeah, you can.
It's definitely a reality,
more efficient and faster.
But it's highly unlikely. It's like people
highly unlikely.
What do you mean?
He's saying for my case, right?
Not for your case necessarily, just in general.
Right.
I mean, without connections, like when is it that you don't need connections? Really, you have to have some connection at least.
Yeah.
Even like for shit jobs, like
yeah.
I've used I applied for ShopRite and I didn't get the job. And then, like, later on, like, I went up to the one of the managers, and I talked to him. I was like, can I get a job? And he's like, yeah, put my name on it. And it's like, I don't know the guy. I just went up to him and, like, talked to him for a little bit.
Right. Oh, you went up to him out of nowhere?
Yeah, like, I didn't know the guy. So it's like, that's how I got that job.
That's cool.
So it's like, that's a small connection, but it's a connection above all the other, like, faceless applicants, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but even for that town job, I'm sure you can apply online, right? Or
yeah, I'm definitely sure. I'm sure people do get hired that way all the time. I'm just saying, like, things are facilitated through connections. Like, if a connection opens up, like, it's just there. It's, like, a viable option whenever, that arises. It's, like, first thing at work, like, or a lot of times, it's, like, when you need somebody in a position, it's like, hey, if you guys know anybody. It's, like, have you never heard that before?
Oh, yeah,
I've heard that like all the time. Like that's like the first thing if you know anybody. And it's like, yeah, I know a guy, and then it's like, all right, there we go, and that's how that happens. That's how like that happens most of the time.
Yeah,
it's either that or take a fucking gamble on like some wild maniac from the street, which is everyone else. It's like, yeah, he looks good.
I think you're being a little slanted in your argument right now. But
I am, but it's like Jeffrey Dahmer, look good on paper,
That's right. He was a professional.
That's like crazy guys. Did you ever see interviews with him?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah. No. There's an interview that they have right before they killed him. That's cool.
Oh, yeah? Check that out.
Is it audio or?
Yeah, audio and video.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit, the full shebang.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem too concerned.
I guess that's Dahmer style.
Yeah. He's not going to go out like a little bitch,
I guess I'm going to kill him.
You got to keep that facade up to the end.
But he was a sociopath, right?
Yeah, he
murdering.
Yeah, he cooked people and killed them, cooked them and ate them, like crazy shit like that.
Wow.
He made furniture out of them too. Was that him or was that somebody else?
I wouldn't be surprised. But then he's like, why would you eat someone, like, especially in such a horrific way? And he's like, because when I ate them, then it was like they became part of me. And like he sincerely said that. I guess he believed that like very literally.
That's like sick.
Yeah, but it seemed like he honestly believed that,
I mean, he's not wrong. But it's not right.
That's so crazy.
That would be a funny joke.
I have a dumb question, but like, I was thinking about this the other day. It's like when we eat meat, right? Is that the muscle tissue of the animal that we're eating?
I think
Unless
so, right?
It's like an organ. Like I ate liver yesterday.
Yeah, aside from organ meat, but like when you get like a steak or a piece of chicken,
that's muscle.
That's the muscle tissue?
And then the fat, I guess.
Yeah, because there's fat on it, right?
Yeah.
Usually you have fat on the food someplace. So it is the muscle tissue, right?
What else
I think
is
so.
there?
I don't know. I was trying to. I always was under the impression.
I never took anatomy. I don't know
There
what
was
you're
this
talking
other
about.
part, like the meat section. It's like muscle, fat, and
free
then
meat.
meat on top.
It's like free real estate.
All right,
It's like the old west.
that's what I
Back in
think.
the day. You could just go out there and claim the land.
That's so funny. I was talking. Lee was doing this puzzle the other day, and I wanted to make a point about that because it was like a United States puzzle. And then I was like, it's like all these states are all tiny. It's like then these ones get all big and square, because like they didn't know how big the country was. And
Just
then
straight up cut.
they're like, oh damn. They were being all conservative. They're like, okay, from that tree to that river is New Jersey. And then it was like, fuck it, just go. But yeah, thank you for helping me clarify that meat confusion. But I think that's what I thought too. Ask your question.
Oh, I know the baby answer. But,
I want to hear it.
I think I know what the baby.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been thinking about the baby. It's like a project basically. Like it would give you a focus project, so it's like you don't have to worry about. It's almost like a distraction, but like,
Yeah.
and it's also you're creating like a better version of you, hopefully.
Yeah.
So it's like let me make me without all the weird fuck ups
Yeah.
and see what happens, and
That's
then it's
true.
like, then that's like, then you feel good about that, and you don't even care about the other stuff. And you get all the endorphin bullshit, and like you love your child anyway. And
You just like loving more
blah 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Love your child.
You guys already know that stuff.
So you think that's the answer, or do you think that was her answer?
That's a answer
Okay.
or unanswer.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know if like that's the best thing to do. I don't think it's like a terrible idea to have a child.
Yeah. She also.
I've been warming up to the idea, honestly. I'm not gonna.
Oh my god,
I'm good for
you
that.
guys are finally catching up with old dad
You know
here.
what it is? I finally feel like I could instill like knowledge,
Right,
And it's like I think I kind of have it.
Yeah.
a little
I'm
bit
not
more.
necessarily ready to do that, but not that I wouldn't in the future,
right.
But I'm like, but yeah. Then she's like also, she's like, I think you're just really emotional because like your life is going better now, and before like you wouldn't think that could happen, like something like that,
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't think that's it either, but that's interesting.
That's like the movie answer.
Well, what do you think it is then?
Yeah. Did you learn anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I don't
it's
mean that like a bad way.
No, I know.
Did you even learn?
I think it's like it's the problem is not those things as much. Is that what I said when I told her, although I didn't give her great details, that I don't like I can't fully like let go of certain things. Like I let go a lot more than I'm not holding on as much as I used to, but I still am like embittered by like a multiplicity of things. I guess like deep down, and like it's hard to know what to do with that. That's like the problem.
Tara Brooke.
Yeah, thank you. Were you guessing or did I say it before?
No, I
Because now
kind
you
of.
know
I
the-
was thinking of what the answer was, and I was like,
He knows you love her.
I was
I was like, the answer would be the radical acceptance thing, right?
Or just going right back to like the rain meditation that we just did, where I was going to say it's like, can you, in the same way she like outlines in that like meditation, can you like isolate and be with the feelings that you're experiencing?
Yeah.
So it's like maybe you practice that rain meditation and you just, encounter those emotions and begin like living them out and nurturing them
Nurturing them into what?
into forgiveness, I guess, or acceptance.
You go round off the edges.
That's not gonna work for me.
Speaking of round up feelings, so what you have to do is like you have to be your own father.
Yeah.
You have to be your own father, Gus. Love yourself like a father loves his son.
I have to engage in this long like journey.
Yeah. Well, you have already. You're already years into the long
That's
journey.
true.
You could also do the whole reborn thing.
Yeah, but then like I like being kind of
Christ is
dark.
the
You know,
answer.
it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs.
It's good. It's good.
There's something that it's like you can just like I don't know. It's obviously easier said than done, and your
Yeah.
life is your own life, and you know how it is. But it's almost like when you're shoved into like a corner that you can't get out of, then it's like I am this corner. Like that's that's a thing off my mind at least. Like I'm just like this person. That's the way I am. Like I don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
You kind of almost accept it's like I'm this, but I have like these dark bits. But that's just the way it is. And then,
So you're saying alternatively I could do that?
yeah, and then I think even then, it'll guide you to a new you anyway, because
That's
you're
interesting.
a new you anyway now. You know,
Yeah.
you're always like growing. So it's like you got these leftover. It's like the branches of the tree when they were growing were guided a certain way, and it's like you can kind of like fight against that mold with another mold or something. Where it's like let me just be this thing, and it's like the less you think about like that mold, I think the less it also like fighting against it is also keeping it alive. You know, in a sense, like not accepting it, you're kind of like letting it live still.
Yeah, and also I was thinking sometimes things seem really ridiculous because, like, let's say it's like a nice summer day and I'm happy. Like, I certainly wouldn't be crying about those things. Like, although like somewhere in my head I would know it's true,
Mm-hmm.
but I really don't care. You know, like it's not affecting me really. It's kind of like just like almost like a distant story that almost didn't even happen to me, kind of.
Right.
So that's how I think is like, is it just a matter of my mood? You know, because like. If I'm really depressed or really happy, in both of them, and either or, I mean in both of them, like I don't feel like I've forgiven or like let go, but I'm happy anyway. It's like I do accept it in that like I guess radical way,
Right.
and without even trying to. It's just like I'm just happy. Like it doesn't matter. But if I'm upset, I don't. I still believe the same thing, but I'm not happy. Like it makes me depressed.
Yeah.
So like, I believe it in both. You know, does that make sense?
I'll take it
Yeah.
to this old adage of neuroscience that brain regions that wire together fire together, and so it's like the whole whatever the issue is, the problem obviously is like if you're experiencing negative moods because of anything, not necessarily because of those like dark artifacts of your past. The dark artifacts are connected to the negative aspect of your personality. So when you feel negative emotion, they're just like called to the front to participate in whatever negative emotion is happening.
Right.
It's like a smell bringing you back to somewhere
Yeah.
else. It's like
And-
you almost can't help it.
And yeah, like I think like you're saying, like even if it's unrelated, it's like that's when those things arise. Like that's when you go back to those like existential questions. That's when you like get the whole package. But that stuff isn't really connected with like your positive affect.
But why is that again? Could you explain that again?
So like neurologically, it's like you often felt bad. You were experiencing negative emotions because of those things.
Right.
Those things were causing you to feel negative emotion.
Right.
And like that was reinforced on you. Like that was a pattern
Okay.
of behavior that you experienced over and over again, presumably when you were a child.
Okay.
Okay? And so like that got really like hardwired into your circuitry. So now it's like the problem that was making you feel bad is gone, but the feeling bad is going to be connected to the problem anyway.
Right.
So it's like the problem doesn't really exist anymore, but your feeling bad still has this beautifully built bridge between that and feeling bad in general.
Oh,
It's
right,
like a phantom
right.
limb.
Like it creates.
Yes, like a phantom
Like it
limb.
built the problem as if it was still real.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's like an after image, like you've been staring at something bright and it's like burned into your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like efficiency. I'm thinking about it like a computer.
Yeah.
Let's say you have lines like 0 through 10. Like each one is like, just to simplify things, it's in the motion. And it's like when like whatever event happened, like it was like the 5 switch went off. And then that's attached to the sadness switch, like the 10 went off. So it's like over time when those like things happen, it's like, all right, instead of making 2 things happen, we make 1 thing happen.
Yeah.
And that's like easier on the code now because these things like both go off at the same
Right.
time.
And they're batched together.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like stuck there. So I don't know if you how undoable it is. I guess you can kind of like train yourself somehow. I don't know how to do that though.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, sometimes like that isn't like when I'm happy like in the summer day, like
Yeah.
that isn't the case, right?
Right.
So it's just weird how.
Because it doesn't get called up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not part of the. Yeah.
But when it's rainy and sad and things
Yeah,
are uneasy, it's like
yeah.
you've already like. It's like you have most of the ingredients to like one soup. You're only. It's like of course you're gonna think of tomato soup when you have all the ingredients for it, like sitting right there.
Yeah, I like that soup metaphor. Right.
Boiling up, you know.
Yeah. It's like complete the puzzle. It's like the only thing that's missing.
Yeah.
It's like your brain can easily like fit that there. It doesn't even need it
Yeah,
to
you
be
can put a
there.
banana in there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it is possible.
Sometimes I feel like I just have to live somewhere where it's warm, but then like this is like my home though. Like I kind of don't want to live here. I don't want to leave here.
I feel the same way. I was like, man, just move to California.
California.
Like that's America.
I would like to be able to travel to California, maybe during the winter, like travel somewhere else. You know,
Yeah.
like go back and forth. That would be cool.
All right. New cold goal.
Wait.
Escape.
Does your company have like another office, like out west?
I don't think we're out west, not in California.
No,
I don't think so.
Okay. Time to start networking.
I'm
Bridge the
building-
gap. You could be like the west guy.
the West Coast.
Head of the Western Division of the Western offices.
But I'm kind of hoping like with this new credit card, so it's gonna give me like all those fucking miles.
Oh yeah.
Knock on wood surface. But yeah, take like a random trip out there, just like see what it's like.
Network with
Explore
print production
some
people.
areas and shit. You know, just anything.
Yeah, California. I was just talking to Julie about this. Like, California is such a like large and diverse state. You know, it's not even like one state because like it's like the whole western seaboard is California, not
Basically, except
not entirely,
Washington, I think,
and
right?
and whatever it is, Oregon is there.
Oregon.
Oregon, am I right? Am I
I
getting
think
my
it's Oregon.
Oregon?
It's Oregon.
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 But that's
Or-
the state, right? It's
It's
California,
like
Oregon.
or you know like or
Uh,
like the ORE, the you know like the mineral.
Right, Oregon,
Oregon.
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 It sounds like you're saying
It's
Oregon.
or-
That's what it is, right?
Because it's Oregon.
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 That E is getting like pronounced differently.
Oregon. Oregon.
Fuck it, doesn't matter. Fuck that shit.
I don't know. I don't give a shit about it
We're
anyway.
talking about California.
Yeah.
I know how to pronounce that. Unless you
Yeah.
pronounce it California.
California. But yeah, there's so much to see in California.
Yeah. To abruptly change the subject again, you were saying that you felt like you've hit a wall. Like, what did you mean by
It's like
Wait, when did you hit a wall?
that?
What kind of wall are we talking about?
we're talking about like my usual wall. It's the same wall, just a different section of it.
Still running into it?
It's still just running into that wall. It's just like I'm unsure of like how to devote myself like properly,
What do you mean?
like my energies, like where I should put like my
That's the age-old question.
focus and attention to like yield the greatest good for myself and my family.
Mm.
And I think I was thinking about this. So I was on the low information diet.
Okay.
Oh, how did that work out, by the way?
Well, I'll tell you about it, right?
Right.
And then it was good. It was okay. It was fine.
That's
Whatever. And then I went off of the low information diet. I was like, yeah, that was cool, but I got to get back to like business here. And so I started like indulging myself in like content again. And I wonder if like part of the side effect of like consuming all this content is it makes you doubt yourself more because you have like kind of more information and you're getting different input from different people and
Yeah, that's true.
it makes you like, oh, that's right and that's not and this is right and then not, but then you see this and when you see it, it's like that feels right, but then it's like it makes you think like, well, that was good. Now I don't feel good about what I'm doing because that looks better than what I'm doing. And like, what about that guy? What he's saying? It's like, yeah, why haven't I been thinking about that? That's important.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why aren't I thinking about that? And then being on the low information diet puts you more in touch with your own attitudes. Your attitudes, I feel like, get less muddled and your thinking gets less muddled by like other people's inputs.
Right, but then, like, that's like us. Yeah, but then what if what you really want is wrong? Or like you right?
Yeah, what if you're dumb?
Yeah.
Not necessarily dumb, but you can like
No, yeah, you could totally just be mistaken.
So that's like adds like another layer of confusion. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah. No, that's definitely, I think, a good point.
I think you gotta realize your truth and then be aware of that and then take the other person's truth and then kind of like find the common ground and be like, alright, this might be okay. Everything else is maybe garbage.
Exactly. I think that would be ideal, but for me at least, it's like it seems like accepting the truth of another person comes at the cost of like part of my own something in myself has to be negated to like afford.
Yeah.
You know, I can't interface the information like seamlessly all the time. It's like in order for me to like believe what you're saying, like I have to forget believing something I already believe in a small way.
What's the problem though?
It's because it's
You
like
want to be wrong still?
no, but I feel like if you're subject to like always having yourself like kind of chipped away, then you're never really like moving forward. It's like if I'm working on a charcoal drawing. And it's like I draw a passage and then erase it, and then I'll draw another passage and erase it, and draw another like.
But you're not erasing it. You're erasing a part and replacing it with another.
Yeah, but it's like the whatever is Theseus's ship or whatever like that,
Yeah,
and then it's like it's not. It's sooner or later like enough can be lost. You know,
Then
it's
you're
not.
then you're a new person. When you look at yourself in like 40 years or 20 years or whatever that exercise was, like, did you see the same person sitting there?
No.
You
Yeah.
saw somebody brand new. It's like, okay, so it's like you don't want to be a better new person.
Yeah, but the choices that are the things that are chipping you away might not be chipping you in a good way, and it's hard to know if you're being shaped in the right way.
Yeah, maybe like the idea is like just to go back to this kind of sculpting metaphor. It's like you want to sculpt in a way that makes like a beautiful sculpture.
Mm.
You know, it's like you're not just haphazardly hacking up.
Yeah.
And it's like my fear, like that is that it's not. It won't
I have that
become
fear too.
a uniform
Right.
edifice of strength and beauty.
I mean, there should be like, you should have a sort of core system that kind of keeps everything in line, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of, do you ever think you have a 50-50 choice? So you flip a coin, and then you see it's heads, and you're like, I actually want the tails. And then you know, like, the choice is tails. You ever have that?
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like your confusion gets, but maybe that again, even that, though, like maybe that's just like a human thing, you know?
What?
Is that we can't be satisfied. Like when you flip the coin, you're flipping the coin because you feel equally drawn to both options.
Right.
So you're flipping the coin, you get an option, and then you immediately long for the other option.
I mean, I've had it happen where I was like, yes, like that's what I want.
And you did feel satisfied with
Yeah,
the coin
yeah.
toss.
It's
and
like,
very well.
You already know what you want when it's in the air. It's like you have it, like you don't even have to look at it. It's like you already kind of like your brain subconsciously already knows what it wants anyway. Like something happens, you know, and that's like you almost don't even need to look at it. Yeah, that's like remember Two-Face. He wouldn't even. I don't think he'd even look at his coin. Man.
You're lying. I bet he looked at that coin. He loved that coin.
That coin was just he already knew what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He's Two-Faced. He would do that too.
No, that's not how he worked. That wasn't really Two-Face.
But so you're saying deep down, like deep down, you know what you want.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying that it could be wrong.
I
Yeah.
mean, man, if that could be wrong, then it's like, man,
Yeah, but then what else are you gonna go by?
yeah.
That's true.
It's like you've made it so far.
And I guess like the idea is like if you like I think you said that before, like living your own truth.
Yes, but go ahead, sorry.
And so I think like maybe part of living your own truth is making your own mistakes. You know, so it's like maybe in you there is folly, but like
Oh,
it's your destiny to like
Yeah.
fall into your pitfall and find your way out, you know?
Yeah, but I was thinking like, okay, so let's even the problem then becomes that you can't live your truth because like people don't let you, or like or I don't know, it's just you know what I mean, like you can't do what you want because there's so many things preventing you from doing what
But that's
you
not
want.
living your truth. Living your truth is accepting like reality around you.
Okay, like yeah, but that step of like, I guess like ideally yes, but like that becomes like that frustration, you know?
Of course, but that's the struggle that you're living with, right?
Yeah.
And that's like what you have to, and your job as an individual is to combat that in your own way. You have to, no one can give you the answer because no one shares like your difficulties to the truth of it. That's your truth. It's only for you, you know? And so no one can truly like give you the answer. You have to like create an answer out of nothingness.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think it's also like as you progress through your truth, I guess, that things get confusing. And there's like because realistically, the things that you really want probably take a long time to get. And like in the process of attempting to get them,
You lose faith.
yeah, and it gets confusing, or it's just like there's so many questions.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, that's like that again. That's the wall I'm hitting. That's exactly the wall I'm hitting. Where it's like, I feel like I'm on the path, and it's like, do I abandon the path in search of like a better path, or like is this struggle to be endured like where it is?
Yeah,
and it's like
exactly.
If I stay, what will happen, and if I go, what will happen?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I wish I could just know the way, It's like,
well, that's no fun.
But what confuses you about
Maybe
not
you're right.
knowing if you should continue the struggle? Like, why do you doubt the value of your struggle?
I don't know, maybe it is because it's like, maybe I'm rating my experience by like the degree of like, I guess it's because I don't make enough money. Like, I feel like I need to like be a different person. I need to be a person who has more means. I want to like be more established. And it's just like, I'm afraid of living and not getting anywhere. Like, there never will be traction. There'll never be like a true development in like what I'm trying to achieve. And that like, I'm panicked about like time slipping away.
I mean, you got a lot of time though. Like you got all the time in your life you have left. Technically.
But so you doubted in part, like that doubt comes because you feel it's taking too long. Is that where the doubt comes from?
Maybe I'm
So like,
impatient.
is there a better path?
And then
That's faster and shit.
yeah. Not only am I taking too long, but like, am I actually making like any good choices to like see myself like go in the right direction? But I think like the best answer I could come up with is like to kind of keep focusing on what I'm focusing on, because it's like I changed my focus to be like, I want to use my art to like connect with people, and like I'm going to start by using my art to connect with the people that I can connect with directly, and it's like that should be the focus of my art, because like that would be like the strongest impact it could have, would be like connecting with people I already have a strong connection with, and like building our connection more with the art, right?
Well, that's limiting your connections, and your connections don't grow technically. I mean,
Yeah.
they could.
But the point being, right, is that is intrinsically like a noble cause, because it's for like, it's art in the name of love, kind of, to be incredibly cheesy about it. But like, that's really what it is. It's like art because I care about you, a person, right? And so that's why I feel like,
But you want art that makes you money, though, right?
yeah, I guess you can't have both. I don't know.
I
but
mean,
yeah,
you
maybe
could
I
have both.
What?
You could have both. They just have to be separate things.
Or maybe like what you're saying of impacting a few people, maybe that could grow in a way that eventually makes you money, and you're still doing it in that way.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would get corrupted in some ways, but at least more so.
that would kind of be like the optimal, like,
Yeah, that could
but you're
happen.
right too. Like, I'm thinking that like that has to be like a unified thing, but it seems like,
You're fishing in like one of those like fish holes. You know what I'm talking about? You're just like sitting there like waiting. It's like, but there's like a whole sea out there, and you got a big ass net, the intern net. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you could be like, there's nothing wrong with selling your soul a little bit. You know what I mean? That's not even real.
but I feel like the part of the like strength of like doing the work comes from, it's like a perfect understanding, and it's just like I can connect like I've been working a lot harder like on the truth and on like the sad boy stuff for that reason, because I'm like, this is an opportunity to like share something with my friends, and
Right.
I've been doing more work on like Seth's project because of his like devastation.
Who said?
My old Japanese teacher who
What's the
lost
devastation?
his son died
Oh crap! When?
like 2 months ago, I think.
From
now.
what?
not really sure.
Damn, that sucks.
And so, like, he's been going through, like, hell, you know? And so it's like, I've been trying to, like, focus on that project. To, like,
What are you doing?
So, he had this, like, story he wrote with
Okay.
another guy. And I was going to do some illustration for it. And so, just, like, working on illustrations
okay.
for this story they wrote. It's supposed to be, like, a serial, you know, like a episodic kind of thing.
You know that, like, that's a good point. That ties what we were saying before. You know that kind of pain of like losing your child. Obviously, we can't understand it because we don't have that happen to us yet, but hopefully, it won't happen. But like, that's a pain that lingers like with people like forever. You know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have that pain, but not obviously not as bad as losing a child, or not the same at least. You know. But it feels in that lingering kind of way.
Yeah.
And then like people say things to you, and it's like. It doesn't like break the wall, you know.
Give them mushrooms.
I had thought about it.
But if it's sunny, then it's like you're not aware of the blocks or whatever. You're fine.
Yeah. The wall only lives in a shadowy place.
But yeah, that sucks. But yeah, I don't know. I think the problem also becomes when trying to show people things is that is inherently like corrupting, and also people confuse you because people have so many different opinions. Kind of like you're saying when you listen to a lot of different ideas. Similarly, when you show people stuff, like so many people think so many different things.
Yeah, one person's like, it's great, other person's like, it's shit.
Yeah, but there's like a certain level of quality that is obvious, you know. I think, and like then like that's where and somebody might like it or might not like it. But sometimes like quality should always be obvious, you know. But I think that even then, like people have their opinions about like what the art is saying, and that's confusing, you know.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about quality, though. Like, Bill Evans is a famous jazz pianist.
Okay.
And, like, I remember seeing an interview with him where he was, like, talking about, like, how he became, like, a professional musician. And he was like, the one thing, he's like, I didn't really have a plan. He's like, the one thing I just told myself was, like, I was going to focus, like, 100% on the music. No matter what, like, and he's like, and I just had faith that, like, if I put, like, all of my heart and soul into, like, the quality of the music. So he's saying, he's like, even if I was, like, locked in a closet someplace, like, somebody would come and open the door and be like, yeah, we want you, you know? And so he put, like, his full devotion into, like, his craft, you know, into the quality. And, like, that is truth, you know? Like, that's why it's, like, that would be something to, like, trust, you know? It's just, like, no matter what you're doing, are you doing it with, like, your wholeheartedness? You know, it's like, are you leaving out some part of your being that's necessary to do this? And that is a truth. That is truth, right? And at least in your personal way, because, like, I feel like we pretty much know, like, when it satisfies our sense of rightness, right? So that, at least, like, that's such a small thing, but it's like, in like, what was that? Descartes? Was it Descartes who said, I think, therefore I am?
Yeah.
So, like, him with that whole thing, right? You know, like, where that comes from is, like, Descartes, he was, like, he realized, like, he couldn't trust anything. He was like, everything is bullshit. And so he goes, he's like, I have to start from, like, the beginning. And he's like, what do I, like, fundamentally know to be true? And, like, I think, therefore I am is, like, one of the first truths, like, he recognizes.
It's like the 0 and the 1.
Yeah,
basically.
the very basic thing. And I feel like that's the problem is, like, those very basic things, like, and I feel like my doing work that, like, responds to my love and connection to those around me, like, that's a fundamental truth. And then, like, what you're saying is, like, always devoting yourself to the quality of your creativity is, like, or conduct, however you want to think about it. That's a truth. You know, even, it's kind of funny because it's kind of like Poldark. Like, this guy Poldark, he's always trying to do the right thing. Like, to the fucking death, he's doing the right thing. To the failure of Enterprise, he's doing the right thing. And it's like, sometimes, in his efforts to do the right thing, he sometimes, like, causes terrible things to happen.
Yeah.
Like, his intentions fail, like, utterly. And this happens with characters. Like, well-intended people do things that you would think would yield positive results, but have, like, terrible repercussions. But it doesn't deter, like, their motivation to continue to try to do what they believe is the right thing. And so it's like, maybe that's part of it, too. It's like, you can be right and still have bad things happen to you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should stop being right, because it's like, it's kind of like, you know, when they say, like, if you get separated from somebody, like, you know, the odds of you locating that person is better if they stand still, right? If you're both moving, then you're never going to encounter each other. But it's the same thing. It's like, if you have a sense of what's right, like, don't question it. Just let it be right there, you know? And then you have to keep trying it, because it's like, let's say you're operating from that moral, like, center, you might be wrong 50% of the time. But if you keep shifting your moral center, you're going to be wrong 90% of the time. You know what I mean? The odds of, like, the reality and your moral compass aligning are going to be decreased dramatically if you are always shifting both things, because you can't control the world. It's always moving anyway. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense.
That's also like a thought process behind strategy in like sports. It's like, do you adapt to the other team, or do you like play with your own core beliefs? And a team that's always adapting to the other team never gets like a real identity, and they never like necessarily like succeed. You know, there obviously you gotta adapt to certain things, but you
Right.
get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's and that's like, that's what I'm talking about, right? It's like when I go off the low information diet and I start consuming, it's like, then I'm trying to adapt all the time. I'm not forming that, like, I'm not refining like the fundamental like sculpture of my being.
To go back to the other thing, so it's like, you don't know like your path or whatever. It's like you're trying to find your like, which way to go, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's like two ways to go about it. There's like the long-term goal, and it's like you already know what it looks like, right? Pretty much, it's like you're successful. It's vague, but you know like what more or less is happening. You're successful. You make money off art.
Yeah.
You know, all is peachy. I do what I want. You know. Then you have short-term goals that I think help you kind of get to that. And I think this is the opportunity you have with your old Japanese school teacher. I think this is perfect, honestly. It's like, well, it's not, well, yeah, it is perfect. It's like a short-term goal. It's like, you might look at it as like just it, but it can lead to more, you know what I mean? Especially when it crosses into another field. You know, this is like literature now. Literature has illustrations. Like, people that don't look at, are going to look at your art, are going to look at this. They might like that. And that might lead to like a connection made with somebody. It's like, I like this art. It's like, you know, this, it's like, and then it's like you're talking about it, and it's like, hey, this guy, I gotta do this. And it's like, you know who'd be good for that? The guy who did that. And it's like, there's a connection right there that can help you like on that path. You know, and as long as you did like the pianist dude said you were talking about, it's like you fully believe in what you're doing, 100%. Then it's like they will find that book in a closet, and it's like, wow, that's good. And it's like, boom. And then you have the internet on top too. The internet is so great because there's so many stupid fucking groups, and I kind of hate it because it's like I'll go on like some like drug subreddits like LSD, and it's like somebody's like, I drew this while I was tripping. And there's always somebody's like, dude, I'll buy that shit right now. Like, every fucking time. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. Like, I should just put, like, stupid doodles up there. And then they're always like, it's part of my notebook. I didn't, like... or some shit like that. So even, like, those things, it's small, but it's enough to, like, gain some traction. Outside traction is not that bad to have, you know? Just, you know, like... Especially when it's kind of free in a sense. Like, you can put your finger into a bunch of pies, you know? Like, you can put into, like, infinite pies, almost. Because, like, you have infinite fingers with the internet. It's not just, like, the immediate pies right next to you.
But they're, like, that's the problem.
They're specialized pies. That's what you gotta go after. You can't go for the big pie. You can't go to, like, art and be like, here's art. Because, like, that's where everyone goes for art. It's my art teacher gave me a good example of this. It's like, if you're a graphic designer, you don't go to a graphic designer conference to make contacts, because that's where everyone goes to make contacts. You go to like a different like trade show where it's like I don't know, like anything else, like fucking tree cutters or something like that. And now you're the only person that does that. You're the only designer in that whole fucking place. So at least some of those people are like, I need this, design for like my business, or I need that, and it's like I need these brochures or some shit. It's like they're gonna want something, and if you're right there, you're the only person now. You're the only choice. You're the only girl in the ballroom, and there's hard dicks. You know what I'm saying? Like a few of them, a few will be gay, a few will be married, but there's still a lot of dicks out there. They're ripe and ready. So it's like I wouldn't go to like the obvious way. I'd put my thing in like weird like side places. You know what I'm saying? Like even even in like I don't know. I'm sure there's like book subreddits or like graphic novel subreddits.
Yeah.
It's like here's some art I'm doing for like a book that's coming out. It's almost like you cross advertise that way too. You build like a small amount of hype. Like these things are possible. And then that's a nice project to focus on. And when you have something to focus on, things just become so much easier.
Yeah.
It's like I just have to work on this. I don't have to worry about anything else. And it's like you just let all the other shit go. It's like I'll do that stuff later. Like this is like the big shebang right now. Let me just do this. And if you just do that to the max, then even if it isn't successful, it's something you can still be proud of and something you can still show off regardless of if the book is good or not.
Yeah. Which is generally like what I tried to do recently. Like instead of like focusing on these different abstract ideas, I was like, what are the actual projects I'm working on?
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote down a list, and it was like boom, boom, boom. Like these are the things that I'm actually like working on that I could identify, like you're saying, that are connected to like a single idea that need to get done, and I'll know when they're done.
Right.
And that's kind of the way I've been working lately, and I have liked it. But I think, I need to go back on the low information diet so I can like stay like centered with my own truth.
And the problem is also like on the internet, although you can throw so much stuff out there, there's so many people doing that. That like it gets diluted so much.
I agree.
And like
that's why I'm saying you got to come at it to like the opposite angle.
Yeah.
You don't put it in like, you don't throw it in the ocean. You throw it in the puddle. That's where it makes a more noticeable splash.
People say that it's not about being happy, or like maybe it's more about being disciplined or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it really is about being happy, because like again, when I'm happy, I still have problems, but I'm happy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
but I think,
but it's like, so I don't know, like maybe.
But there's different types of happiness.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't think they all are equal.
Like what different kinds of happiness are there?
Like, I don't know. There's like, you can be happy because like your body feels really good, right? Like if you feel like let's say you just go for a run, you feel good. It's like, okay, you're kind of happy. You're in a good mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean you should run all the time? Like always be exercising to like keep this mood? Like you can't do that.
Right. Either once a day.
Yeah, you'll get that a little bit, right? And then there's a happiness of like when you do something good for somebody else, like even if it's a stranger, like that'll make you feel happy.
Yeah.
So it's like, does that mean you should stand around like holding doors and like helping old ladies across the street all day?
You could.
And then there's like a happiness that comes from like when you're doing like flow states, right? You have all the flow states where it's like you're doing hard work, you're doing a good job, and it's like there's like this instantaneous feedback about the quality of what you're doing.
What do you think?
That brings you happiness.
Yeah, but what point are you trying to make with that?
That like just saying happiness still isn't sufficient to like plan a life around.
No, I agree that you have to do a lot of things to make you happy, like all those things, and like a lot of other things. It's not, it seems impossible to be happy anyway. But but I feel like happy, whatever the things are which are hard to come up with to be happy, like your goal should be happiness maybe. Because I feel like that's when relating to problems doesn't seem like a problem. At least to me,
I think satisfaction could be a form of happiness. I don't know about you.
Like the end goal should be the feeling of happiness.
Yeah. I don't know though. I think even that, like, because does that include like feeling happy in 5 years? Feeling happy in 3 years? Tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess you could.
When do you need the happiness by? When do you got to cash in?
I guess that gets confusing too.
It's like be happy at the end of your life. Smile as you pass on.
Yeah, that adds another. There's so many layers of confusion to everything.
Yeah.
that makes not being happy even worse, because it's like, oh man, I'm not optimal right now.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I think each emotion should be taken like as it is to put other emotions in perspective, kind of.
I guess that's true, but I just want to be happy.
Yeah. You can be happy.
I feel like you really can be happy all the time.
There's a good quote.
You think you can be happy all the time?
No. That's foolish. That's like
You'd be fulfilled,
but then like you probably
and you get happiness from that.
I don't know. Maybe you could. Maybe
You
you'd
could.
be enlightened. No, how could you be happy all the time? Something bad
If
has
you
to
had,
happen
if you have a
eventually.
good run,
And then
know?
like, oh, whatever happens bad now, it's like I can cut my losses. I've done great, fine. I'm happy with whatever happens next.
yeah, man, that's
I don't believe
that's acceptance. I don't think the monks.
You think
they care? I don't think
They do. They do. There's a famous like Buddhist story about that.
What's the story?
Yeah,
There was a monk who lived in the house of like a kind of established like mistress, right?
Okay.
And so she,
An established mistress.
yeah,
like she was a hoe for show.
She was a lawyer.
no, like she was a woman of means, not necessarily through like prostitution or
Oh, okay.
like she was an independent woman. Like she wasn't married. She might have been like a widow, but she had enough, and so she provided lodging and board for this monk.
Oh, okay.
So as like a kind of spiritual dedication,
Okay.
right? And so she's doing that for a while, and she begins to like wonder what the how the monk is doing. So she sends like a beautiful maiden to bring him his food, and she sends the maiden. The maiden is supposed to be warm, right? And so she warmly like gives him the stuff, and then she embraces him,
Okay.
right? And this is the idea. And then the woman comes and she's like, oh, I had the servant come and bring you your food. And, and the monk was like, yeah, she embraced me. And then she was like, oh yeah, like, what did that feel like to you? And the monk was like, it was, I felt nothing. It was as a dead tree growing against a rock in the winter.
Okay.
And so she immediately like kicked the monk out and burned the like little hut where he was. And she's like, I can't believe I wasted so much time on this fraud. Because it's like he had learned to negate his emotions rather than experience them with acceptance.
Okay.
And so she saw that as like a failure, It's like the monks, the spiritual devotee's path is not a path to negation, but to a path of like acceptance.
Right.
So like, I guess the reason I bring this story up is because it's like the same thing of like happiness. It's like the negative emotions of life like should have their place, maybe I'm arguing, and like should be experienced as they are and not like negated like with anything. They need to be like recognized, and like that is a complete human being, not one that only experiences like one that stops everything at the expense of stability in one emotion.
Yeah, and it's hard, like, because part of acceptance is like a lot of it. Acceptance asks, in a lot of way, like, to reframe how you like look at things in a way, and that's really hard, because everybody gets under like sometimes I think, oh man, like I have to work most of the time, and a lot of time I don't want to work, but that's like what life is, But it's hard to accept that a lot of the time, It's like life is most like it's so much discomfort,
Yeah, quite a bit.
Like I'm probably mostly uncomfortable, but I'm still not like miserable. I'm like mostly okay, I guess what I would call okay most of the time.
Right.
But like life is very uncomfortable so often.
Yeah.
And then I think like I try to do that like well that's just how life is, like just do I don't know, do whatever you have to do. But it's hard, like a lot of time like I don't accept it, What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, and then you got to think about all those people that like add the extra suffering. It's like I feel like what we've been working really hard to do, and have been pretty successful in doing, is like eliminating like the unnecessary like excesses of suffering, like being closer to the truth without like the nightmare of that we're creating. But I think like for a lot of people, like the compounded nightmare is like made so much worse.
Yeah, I still fuck that up sometimes, but I got him, I guess, somewhat better.
Yeah, me too. No, I think we're way better than we once were.
What do you think that you guys often not accept what's happening to you? Do you feel like you accept things well?
Yeah, but it's like I don't want to sometimes. Like, if I'm in It's like sometimes I'll be like in horrible physical pain,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah, like that's a good
And then-
example.
and then I always try to think of like meditation and stuff,
Right.
and it's like I'll be doing it. I'm like, this shit ain't working at all.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much you can like mentally like do sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just like this is just like bad. And it's
And
like,
physical pain is probably like the best teacher of that, I think. Like
Yeah.
the limits of your mind.
Pain is real.
yeah, that shit fucking blows. But it's like at the end, like you can't like fight it, so you kind of just gotta accept it, which is rough. But
Have you ever felt like you truly accepted it in those moments?
yeah, that's usually like it'll start getting better in a sense.
Yeah.
But not. It's like it's not really better, but it's better. If that makes it. It's
better.
almost like it. The pain is still there, but it's almost like I can see like a light at the end of the tunnel a little bit.
Right.
You know, I'm like,
When you start feeling better.
I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
sometimes no, but usually yes.
But yeah.
But it's like I've been there before, and it's like
So you know, it's gonna
I know
end.
some days are like really bad, and I'm like, not every day is bad though. That's what I try to like tell myself. You know, like there's periods of time where I'm like depressed, but I know like I'm not always depressed. Like there'll be a time where I'm having like I'll be happy and be having fun.
Yeah.
So I try to like think of those moments. You know, like this is just the other side of the pendulum swing. You know,
Mhm.
so that's what I try to convince myself with.
Should we go eat?